Today we're going to do things different. Um, After this, I'm going to be doing a interview with a woman named Penny. She lost her son to addiction, and it's been very hard for her. She is a very courageous, strong woman who's been through a lot. And even with several years that have passed since she lost her son, you are going to see today that it's still very, very, very hard for her. And yes, I'm a parent, but I honestly couldn't imagine what it's like to lose a child to this disease. And this disease does not discriminate whatsoever. It doesn't care if you come from a rich family, a poor family, if you came from a family full of love, or a family that has any sort of maybe abuse. The video today is going to show a lot of emotion. It's going to show a lot of pain. It is not the normal format that I do when I'm doing these. But I think it's very, very important that parents, when they're comfortable and when they're ready, get to share what it's like living with us, because I know from personal experience, I gave my parents straight hell. I was sneaking out, I was using, I was not by any means respectful to my family whatsoever. I wasn't even respectful to myself. And it is taking me a very, very, very long time to really understand that my behaviors and the things that I do affect everyone around me. And so, if you have a hard time watching raw emotion, then the podcast today probably is not for you. It's usually, it's not as long as, they usually are. And a lot of that is because this is in a very, very emotional topic. And I just want people to keep an open mind and to not pass judgment, and to remember that this could happen to any of us. If you are a parent that has a child that is an addict, it's very possible that you could lose that child to this disease. I have a child who is an addict, and I could lose him to this disease. And that's real. And the sad thing about addiction is that not everyone gets this, and sometimes people die. And that is just so sad. And I think for a very long time, I didn't really understand that. I thought that if you really wanted with all your might to be sober, that you would just get this thing and life would be great. But sometimes you can maybe really want to be sober, but not have dealt with the trauma that got you to use in the first place. And then you go back to using, and then you're not here anymore. So, with that, I hope you enjoy the podcast, and just keep in mind if you haven't done anything nice for your neighbor today, go and do something nice for your neighbor. Because you never know what someone is struggling with and where somebody is at. And you never know what someone has been through. So maybe just for today, try to be a little kinder to someone else.
Hey people, this is Ashley. So I'm super excited about today because it's gonna be a different show than usual. Usually I'm talking to people in recovery or new in recovery, and I think it's very important to get the viewpoint of a parent that had to live with someone in their addiction, and then a parent that lost a child to this disease. And I think it's very important for parents to get to share their stories and be heard, because it's hard to love us in our mess and in our craziness, and even when we're doing good, right? Because we never know when we might not be doing good. So this is my friend Penny today. She has been a friend of my family's for a very long time and trying to help me a bunch when I was not doing so good. And bless her heart, I just wasn't ready for a long time. So with that, this is Penny, and she is going to share her story with us. It's all you, Miss Ma'am.
Hi, I'm Penny. I want to talk to you about my son's addiction. I'm not real sure when he started using. We knew there was something wrong with him at a young age, and he never talked about it. And in the end, we found out I was sexually abused from the time he was about 4 until he was 8 by a male person. He used drugs to hide that pain, and it was a hard journey for us. Not sure what we should do, because I've never used drugs. I've never had any inclination to use them, but I was trying to save my son, and in the end we lost him anyway to a heroin overdose in 2014. The journey has been rough. My heart is broken every day. I don't even know what to say. It's just so hard.
So what was daily life like, right? Like, so he's using. Was he living with you while he was using? And it was always opiates, right? Was that always his?
It was hard. He was angry all the time, and sometimes they tear up the house. He never touched any of us though, but he just was angry all the time.
I think I heard my mom say one time that you had said you wished he would go to jail, right? You wished he would get locked up, so you at least know where he's at.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably people think that sounds crazy, but I get it, right? Because I think that's how my family got with me, just God, please arrest her. He eventually did go to jail, right? Didn't he? He went to jail. How long did he spend in jail?
The last time it was like 5 years. He was in and he came out and used, and that's when he died from that, because he used the same amount that he did before he went in, and it was too much.
Yeah, that's I think that's actually something that addicts tend to do. So when I was at La Hacienda, when I was 14, my first treatment center, they had a gentleman named Chris Raymer, who's now actually the director of operations, and he used to tell people, don't use the same amount that you used when you got here, right? Like, statistically, most of you are probably going to relapse. Your body is not used to that, and that's usually what I think us addicts, we forget, right? We're like, yeah, no, we can do it, we can handle it. And sadly, we can't. So because you had said like you have a heart to help us, right? To help addicts. So what are some of the things that you have been doing maybe since losing your son to try to help addicts?
I've taken kids to AA and NA. I take them to church. I'd like to spend time with them, take them out to eat, talk to them about what I went through with my son, because I don't want that for them or their moms. I just like to spend a lot of time with them, and I do what I can to help them out.
So when did you guys find out that your son had been abused?
What is what?
When he had been abused, because you said that that's why he was using, right? And you probably didn't know at first, right? You found out much later.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know he was using. I had never been around anybody like that, really.
So, what advice would you give to parents that are maybe living with a child that's in active addiction? Like, if you could go back and maybe change things, do you think it would have made a difference, or do you think you did everything you could? Like, have you ever thought about, like, well, maybe if I would have done this, or maybe if I would have done this? Like,
Yeah, I wish I could, but we helped them all we could. We put them in Christian farms, and it cost us $1,800 a month. We did a lot of things to try to get them help, but the thing was that it wasn't that he needed the drugs because he was on them, but he didn't before. He needed to be healed of what happened to him. And we didn't know that. That's the whole thing. We had no idea that happened. If we did, maybe I would have taken a different avenue, but I do know that he was angry, and I questioned why he was, because I raised them both the same, and so I had him to doctor after doctor, and they kept telling me that there was nothing wrong with him. Now, if they would have picked up on it, maybe we could have changed things, maybe. I don't know for sure, but it would have been worth a try if we knew.
So we were kind of talking earlier about like the stigma, right, that is around. Obviously, there's a stigma with drug addicts, and there's a stigma, right, with parents of drug addicts. What would you like to see maybe change? Like, if this was a perfect world and you could make stigmas go away, like, what would that look like? Like education for people, or people going to like more meetings? Like, what do you think it would take to get the stigma around addiction to go away?
I went to meetings with them. I did all that stuff. I even would find him whenever he was doing that stuff. I always tried to save him, but all that was for nothing, because when he came out of prison after 5 years, he used again. So I don't know. I couldn't make him stop. Ultimately, it was up to him, and he chose not to. So now we're left without him here. His kids have no dad. Got 5 kids. And we miss him every day.
Where are his kids at? Are they with you?
And I can't think where. That's my brain really. They live Florence.
Okay.
In Florence, yeah. I don't see them much.
Oh, you don't see him much?
Nope, I miss them. But they're always around me or with me, but it's hard. She's remarried now, and things changed, so.
Yeah, that's hard.
But he was definitely your first love. Definitely. I wish he were here, but not like that.
So see, that's okay. So that brings up a good point, right? Like I think sometimes, and this sounds messed up, right? He's at peace now, right? So it's like you miss him, but you also know he's in a better place than he was when he's here. So that must be hard, right? You know, I know there was some times we worried about my sister, you know, and thought maybe it would be better if she wasn't, because she wouldn't be hurting so bad, you know, and that's heavy, you know, that's hard to think about. Shoot, I'm sure my parents thought that about me the way I was going, and just couldn't stop.
It's hard. That's hard with that every day. It's hard. I'm trying not to think about him. He was such a blessing, even though he was so angry. And I just, he had the biggest heart. If anybody, old man was on the side of the road, he'd stop and push his car out and fix his tire, whatever. You know, he gave money to people all the time that were living on the streets. He was a good kid. He just had hurts.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else, Miss Penny, that you would like to share with us? This was good. I'm happy you opened up a little bit and you were able to share some stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hug you later. I'm gonna cry. Okay. No. Okay. So, some advice, some things I would like to say on this topic. If you are the parent, of an addict, it is going to be the hardest thing you're ever going to do, because some people are going to say you're enabling and some people say you need to cut them off, and it's hard and only you can make those decisions. And I think it's important for parents to know that the things that we do are not your fault. Penny's son was raised by parents that love him. Like, it's not Penny's fault that he was a drug addict. It's not my parents' fault that I'm a drug addict and I continue to do the things that I did. So if you're a parent, take it easy on yourself. And I would say pray for us as much as possible, because sometimes that is the only thing that's going to help us is prayer. And if anyone watching this needs help finding meetings or mental health resources or connections with Al-Anon or CODA, my phone number is on the page. You can also email me. And if there's anyone out there that's watching this that would also like to share their story, please send me your information and we will connect. Thank you guys for watching this today. This one's kind of deep, not, I think, what some of you guys are going to be used to, and I think that that's awesome though too. So you guys have a great weekend, and remember, this will also be on YouTube. Have a great time.